And I'm going to ask you what I asked you last time because that was so funny. I don't want to lose it. Will you please give me one Jackie Chiles line? Thank you so much for tuning into Second Act TV. Today, I am so excited to welcome a new guest, actor Phil Morris, probably best known as his most hilarious portrayal of lawyer Jackie Chiles on Seinfeld. Phil, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me, Silk. It's an honor.
You know, full disclosure, this is our second run.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2, we did a trial run, and I just want everybody to know, for 500 videos, almost 500, I've never had issues to where the recording was unusable, and with Phil it was. And he was so nice. Phil, you were so nice about this. You didn't make me feel stupid. You didn't, you're like, oh, do it again.
You've done 500 of them. I've done maybe 5,000 interviews in my life, and I'm used to something going wrong if it does. And if it does, it just does. It's not personal. It's just technology, and we'll work it out. And we had so much to say anyway. We were going to try to do another interview, another discussion, conversation. Anyway, so we just fast tracked it, and here we are quicker, sooner.
Just in case somebody, is not familiar with the character Jackie Chiles, I'm going to link to some of it. I think that is probably your most well-known, if you will, and like everybody knows you from that.
I think so. I think, because Seinfeld was such a huge pop culture phenomenon, really water cooler conversation after every Thursday night. So I was just fortunate enough to be a part of that incredible legacy, and Jackie resonated. And so, yeah, I think it is the most resonant character I've ever performed for public consumption. So excuse the phone call. My wife will
That's okay.
But
stuff happens.
Real life here, people.
That's funny. Well, and aside, of course, from Seinfeld, you have a very long career. You grew up in showbiz. I mean, your father, a nice factoid, is Greg Morris.
From the original Mission Impossible series in the 60s, not the movies. My dad is in Ving Rhames. I always say that because they're like, your dad's in the movies? I'm like, no. He was in the series, the seminal series in the 60s that really was groundbreaking. And he was one of the most groundbreaking performers of the time, because at the time, there were no African-American males outside of Bill Cosby who were leading a nationally networked show. And my father was one of the stars of not just the #1 show in the country, but the #1 show in the world.
And you followed in his footsteps. Weren't you cast actually in the reboot?
Yes, well, the show, the new Mission Impossible, which I did with my uncle Peter Graves, ironically enough, was a reboot because there was a writer's strike going on at the time, and they couldn't change any words. They couldn't change a period. The Writers Guild was really tough, and the strike was really tough. So they decided that Mission Impossible was the kind of show that they could bring out of mothballs, not change a word, and it would still kind of read as a modern show. So at the time, I was actually reading for my father's character. And got the role as Barney Collier, which was my father's character back then, which was just surreal. He and I just were just like, what, really? That you would do this show, that I would actually be an actor of the age that I could take the role on, was just, was beyond both of us. And so when the writer's strike finished, long story short, they could change the names, and they, in their infinite wisdom, changed me to the son of that character, which I was already.
Yeah. Love it. What a great story. Well, then give me some of the highlights of some of your other stuff. I know you're on stage, you're on TV, you're the movies. What are your highlights?
My highlights, I started really on The Young and the Restless. That's a daytime soap, still going. They've canceled many of the daytime offerings, and Young and the Restless is one of the ones that they've kept. But at the time, Young and the Restless was the #1 show, #1 daytime show. And I spent 2 years there plying my trade, and it was an amazing run on that show. They won all kind of best Emmys and makeup and hair. It was just great, because for me as a young actor, to have that saturation of experience, to be working every single day, starting with 4 pages of dialogue, and at the end of my run, I was doing 30 pages of dialogue a day. It's an incredible training ground, proving ground. So Young and the Restless was one of my first gigs. My next one after that was a show called Marblehead Manor. I only mention that because that was when I first got a chance to work with Michael Richards. It was an early primetime experiment for NBC. And it was us and She's the Sheriff with Suzanne Summers and a couple of other shows that they were really experimenting at early primetime. And Michael Richards and I became really good friends. And I just love that guy. I just think he's an artistic genius. And when I went to go do Seinfeld, it was really easy for me because I already knew Michael. I wasn't daunted. I wasn't enamored with him. I was like, let's go to work, brother.
Yeah.
So those are the first two. And then I was a model for years. I did a lot of modeling. I did a lot of GQ, worked with Bruce Weber quite a bit. Whenever they would come out from New York, I was there, one of their LA West Coast guys. I was with Wilhelmina West models. I met Wilhelmina early. And I did cigarette ads. And I just was one of those supermodel people. And yeah.
That's funny. Well, I'm glad you just brought that out, because what I really want to focus on today, on second act, of course, we talk about living your life to the fullest after 50, both in terms of career, purpose, passion, certainly relationships, huge topic. And on top of that, you're fit and healthy, which, a lot of us are not blessed with or keep it.
Right.
When it comes to career and having grown up in an industry and worked in an industry where really looks and ageism is a big deal, how has that affected you as you grow older as an actor?
That's a really good question, because this is a visual medium, and we do kind of lead with our face first in this genre. It can be tricky if you take yourself so seriously that is all you have, that is your talent, so to speak. As an actor, yes, I want to look the character, I want to look the part, but I want to feel them even more. And I've gotten roles that I was just absolutely not right for, just because I was so connected with the character. So I think when you approach your process that way, and you have a look and you have some style, you'll go a lot further than if you're trying to cultivate a look and a style, because everybody can't be the Kardashians. You know what I mean? Everybody just can't have that kind of reality show, as far as I'm concerned, two-dimensional appeal. We need to be more than that. And as you get older, that can hurt you. If you are a young woman or a young man and you were really leaning on that young leading man look, which I did as a young actor, until I realized the craft of acting was really important to me. You know what I mean? Like I said, I was a model, so I got I made a lot of money with this punum, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't all I was, and it wasn't all I wanted. And I think when it is all you are and all you want, your career is going to be short. It's not going to be a long career, because your looks will change consistently. And I have gone from younger leading man to older leading man to boss, dad, father. You know what I mean? And I'm fine with it the whole way. I let my hair grow. I don't color anything. I do me. And I think that that's the most important part of the whole thing, is being you and doing you.
Well, that's so interesting to hear from you, because there is a lot of talk in the entertainment industry that, ageism. I mean, there's groups that are founded just to, prevent ageism, create older roles, et cetera, especially for women. You don't feel that?
I have not yet. I meet with my representation on Friday. So we'll go over all of what we've been going through the last 4 or 5 years. I have not stopped working. And I think it is because I've accepted my transition. I haven't fought it. I haven't denied it. I haven't tried to be younger, faster, quicker. I don't really care about that. I care only about being authentic in the moment. And my training has helped me. I'm a martial artist, and I follow more of an Eastern bent in my philosophies. And I think that helps me be a little healthier internally. And I bring that to my work. It's not easy. It just isn't easy, because you are judged in my business on how you look. I mean, you walk through the door. Well, I don't really walk through the door anymore. There's a lot of self-tapes. So you're not in a casting office any longer. Yeah. But when you walk through the door, they judge you immediately. They see you. I mean, they feel your energy. So if you're unwell, or if you're faking the funk, they get it. And that's not the way I want to live my life.
Yeah. You said one thing that I want to go back to: acceptance. I think that's like the biggest takeaway for people listening, because that applies to, not just entertainment industry, that's anything. The aging process, we have to accept that we're getting older, and we have to get used to it. It's not always easy, but yeah, that I think is key.
Yeah. And it's very personal. It's a very personal rollout. I worked out this morning before we started this interview. It's just a part of my life's rhythm. And I like that more than Body Beautiful or being in shape kind of mentality. It's a holistic rhythm that I'm connected to. And I think we all need to be more connected to that holistic rhythm for each and every one of us. So that then you will find that if you do show up and you do whatever it is that you do, Pilates, yoga, whatever it is, walking, whatever, you'll find that your body will respond, your mind will respond. It has to, because you're giving it the nutrients, the psychological nutrients beyond the physical that it needs. And we sell ourselves short. It's like a two-dimensional way of thinking. I want to look good. I want my muscles to be big. I want to be better about my hips. Forget all that. How do you feel?
I feel.
How do you want to feel?
Great advice, such great advice. And you touched on that last time, which is one of the reasons I really wanted to bring it up front, because you had so much to say that I think is so valuable for other people to hear. The other thing that we touched on, and then we'll kind of go back and forth because it all fits together, the relationship part. The other thing that you've demonstrated and have been, I'm going to call it successful. I know it doesn't come without challenges. You've been married for over 35 years.
Yes.
Crazy business. How you have more, I don't want to necessarily call them challenges, but there's more opportunities perhaps for failure.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, than those of us not in the public eye. Talk to me about that.
Well, the kind of work I do is very intimate. When you work with other actors, female, male, it's an intimate thing. You're creating a relationship like instantaneously. And the relationships that you create are very intense because that's the nature of your situation in the movie, the film, the TV show, the play, whatever it is. So right away, there's a connectivity that actors have with one another that most business people do not have, because you don't get into an office setting thinking I have to have an intense emotional relationship with this person. You have a business relationship and then it may grow or whatever. But my job is to have that relationship immediately so that the audience feels it. So you can, in a way, get in trouble with what I call set romances, location romances. And it can be a quick relationship that doesn't have a lot of value underneath it, but you give it more value than it deserves because that's your craft, right? So maybe that's one of those areas that we as actors or artists can fall prey to, because we have to leave ourselves open to those things. So you're vulnerable in a way that other average business people are not. That's just the nature of the industry.
Right.
Then you deal with your own personal position, and it depends on who you are and how you're built. Are you built that you need the attention and you need people to give you that adulation and worship, and you don't quite get it from your primary relationship? Then you're gonna stray. It's tricky.
I mentioned to you last time that I had Bill and Susan Hayes on from Days. And one of the things I asked is, how does jealousy does it enter into your relationship all these years? You're kissing others. I mean, those soap operas are very intimate. How can you help not to get jealous? And you said something very interesting. It's more difficult, especially perhaps, if I understood right, if the other person's not in the business, which your wife isn't. And you referenced one of the talk shows you were.
Well, we had gone on Phil Donahue, which is an older talk show, and it was all about how you felt about your significant other being, romantically involved on camera, which she absolutely hated because she didn't like it. She didn't like that I was involved with other women on camera or off camera, whenever, wherever, however. Because she does not come from this industry. She's not aware of the process that's involved and the detachment that you have to have. It's not a real thing. We don't get that as John and Jane Q public. She didn't get that. And it's difficult. But I will say this about jealousy. I don't know. I think jealousy is problematic, but I don't know if it's a problem. Here's why. Because it keeps us straight in a way. It's like I keep myself fit and together, not just for me, but I want my wife to be drawn to me. I don't want someone else to take her from me based on that, right? And so I keep myself in as best I can physical condition so that there isn't some human that draws her eye more than me. It may be a little base, I understand, but it's not meritless, because a lot of us are swayed by the physical. We are moved. And we want to be still attracted to our mate. And when that mate is no longer feeling attractive or they've lost it, but we still want to have that connectivity and we don't, that can be problematic.
Yeah.
So the jealousy part is like, I'm only jealous if I feel like I'm not bringing my A game. You understand? And so sometimes jealousy makes me go, I'm not bringing my A game. I remember one time we went to go see, and I'll tell this story. It's a good one. We went to go see the original Top Gun. So this is over 20 years ago,
Mhm.
easily. And I was not as physically fit as I am now. I was this actor. I was kind of living this crazy life, drinking a lot, partying a lot. And we walked out of the movie and I thought it was awesome. And I look at my now wife, at that time she wasn't. And I said, "Oh, isn't that great?" And she had this kind of look on her face. And she was like, hmm. I was like, "What?" She's like, "I remember you used to be like that. Like fit and, the volleyball scene and all that." And I was like, "Oh my God. Yeah, I've lost it." That was the last time I didn't work out. I partied too hard. Over 20, 30, 30 years ago, decades ago. It scared me straight. I wanted her to be me and on me. I liked that she liked them, but I was a little jealous that she was attracted to the thing that I was no longer. So it kind of scared me straight.
Boy, that's something a man should never say to a woman, though.
What? What?
That you're no longer what you were. Boy, that would cause a fight, I think, the other way around.
Yeah, but yeah, so then that's that issue. You know what I mean? I didn't take it that way at all.
That's
I
great.
knew that she was right. This is the problem is that we get our feelings hurt. You know what I mean? We're in our ego so much.
Yep.
Somebody says something to us that doesn't come the way that we need to hear it, whether it's the truth or not, and we get we get hot buttoned. Yeah, I could have been hot buttoned and like, yeah, F you, later for you. I'm still that dude. I'll find some chick who really digs this. And no, she was right, and she felt it. And that was her chance to say it. And she felt safe saying it. And if I jam her up because I feel less than, that's my problem. It's not her problem. And so I don't have an issue with saying to somebody, yeah, you're not feeling great today. Why? Because you're not doing your job.
Mm.
You're not taking care of yourself. We have to stop feeling like, oh, don't say that to me. That hurts my feelings. No, you might be in that place. You might need to hear it.
Wow. That great. Again, I'm not sure where you got this perspective. You just like, you have spiritually, emotionally, physically, it's like you have it all.
Hardly. I'm like you,
Well,
though. I'm questioning. What you do with this. It's just as much for the audience as it is for. It's just as much for you as it is for the audience. When you're doing this the best you can, you correct me if I'm wrong, but you're getting answers from people like me that you're like, wow. You're asking questions that you want to know the answer to, which is what a good interviewer does. That's what I'm doing in my life. All these books, I'm reading them all. It's not for show. It's not art. I have a whole library of philosophy, I have a whole philosophical section. And I'm always asking myself, so when am I going to be? When am I going to be the energy that has these things to say? When am I going to be the energy that can lead myself, not others? When am I going to be my own shepherd?
Mm-hmm.
Do I still have to read books? Do I have to watch documentaries? Do I have to do more training and more psychological? Maybe, but when is my time?
Yeah.
And I'm always looking for that time.
To me, that's the most interesting part of doing any of this is the incredible people I get to talk to, such as yourself, and what you learn. Like I feel like I'm learning every single day.
Right. Beautiful.
And maybe that's a question I should ask. What is your advice, your perspective on living your life to the fullest after 50, or recreating life after 50? And that's big for us here because so many after 50 are divorced. They get started, they're restarted, they're widowed, etc. How would you answer that question? Anything come to mind right away?
Absolutely. This is your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yours. How do you want it written? This is the novel of your life. Yes, things go poorly, things go great, things are stasis, but who are you in it?
Mm.
That's what makes you you. Not that a problem happened, not that you had a divorce, not that you have a problem with your child. There's a lot of people who have those situations,
Mm-hmm.
but who are you in it? How do you move through these things? And to me, that's exciting. It's not daunting. I think for so many, it's daunting because we are taught in a way that life is hard. We are taught that you have to work hard. You can't enjoy your life until you've worked hard, you retire, you put it all behind you. Now you can have a good time. That's what society's construct
Right.
tells us. But in my heart of hearts, since I was a small child, I thought that was a lie.
Wow.
I thought, why can't I have my cake and eat it too? I never got that. You're playing yourself small, people. Take all of these, it took you all of this to get to this point.
Mhm.
Why are you going to relegate this to the negative pile
Mhm.
when that is all you too? This is all you. So bring all of it. Let it strengthen you. I have this analogy. It's like steel, right?
Mhm.
Steel gets beaten up the wrong way. It's just mangled metal, throw it away. If you beat steel in the right way, we call it tempered steel. And it's stronger than it was in its original form
Mhm.
because it's been beaten in the right way. How are you? We're all going to get beat. How are you going to accept it? How are you going to let it lay on you? Are you going to let it lay you down so that you don't get up? Or are you going to see that as the strength that it's trying to give you and rise through it and be stronger after it? And
Mm.
that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm working on.
You should also be a preacher, kind of like your character, Johnny Cochran.
Yeah, Jackie.
Like that.
Jackie is he's a bit of a preacher. He's a crazy preacher, but yes, he is one.
No, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, it all goes back to perspective and attitude. And I see that so much in our comments. And I get that this is a venting a forum. It really is. And I think that's helpful because people don't get to maybe express or even just, throw up all over you.
Right. Safe space. Safe
Yes.
space.
Yeah, exactly. But then you do want to bring him back to what Phil just said. Any advice on that?
Well, I mean, we're back to acceptance, aren't we?
Mhm.
Part of that is listening to the voice in your head that's trying to keep you safe
Mhm.
and checking it. Just check it.
Yep.
Don't stand on your own ceremony so much that you can't evolve.
Mhm.
We make these decisions as we're younger people, and then things happen, and we grow, we evolve, we mature, and we think that we got it right, and then something else happens and we don't got it. So you have to be accepting of that vagary. And I don't know if we do accept that. If something happens that goes against what we've decided is etched in stone, then we can't let it go.
Yeah.
And we have to be able to let it go back to acceptance.
Yeah.
So when you don't let it go, that it festers, it eats at you.
Yeah.
And you don't know why. I mean, you just don't know why. Because you're just not accepting the difficulty that you may have to look at.
Mhm.
I don't want to look at it, but that's why I work out. I mean, it's hard every day I go work out, but I do it anyway because I know I'm better for it.
For it, exactly. A question I always like to ask Phil, because I get interesting answers. What are you most proud of with everything, all this incredible life that you've had?
My children are phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
They're just good humans. I don't think I have everything to do with that. That's on them.
Mm-hmm.
The same way it was on me. My parents are phenomenal, but it was on me to make these choices.
Mm-hmm.
It's on me to continue to make these choices and to know that there's no period at the end of this life sentence. My children have accepted that, and they're living their lives authentically as authentically as they can. And I learned so much from them. My son calls me all the time about little thoughts he has, little processes, questions he has. We're best friends. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things those two human beings I am the most proud of. I'm very proud of my marriage too, having gone through this for beautiful relationship for so long. It's not easy, and we do struggle with certain things because we're imperfect people, and we desperately want to stay together and be together. So you have to accept certain things and let go of others, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, what is your secret? It's the same, when we asked Bill and Susan, what's your secret?
I think I said this to you last time, and I'll stick to it. I do remember this. Stay attractive,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that means to you.
Mm-hmm.
Intellectually, philosophically, psychologically, we attracted to one another. That's how we get together, right? I see you across the room, and I'm like, wow, she's pretty cute. You see me, like, wow, I have a handsome guy, and we make our way to each other. We start chatting.
Mm-hmm.
You make me laugh, I make you laugh. Like, wow, that's kind of cool. And you're like, wow, you want to carry this further? Like, yeah, let's do that. And then one thing leads to another. Don't lose that. What are we talking? What are we thinking when we lose that?
Yeah.
Or we don't continue to generate that interest in yourself first. You have to be interested in yourself. You have
Mhm.
to be interested in what you're interested in, passionate about what you're passionate about, desirous about what you're desirous about, and bring that to the relationship.
Yeah.
It can't be all them. You can't leave it all on them. It's not their job to do that. It's your job. If you do your job, they do their job, y'all can be in business together.
Yeah.
Then the relationship is beautiful. And every day you're discovering yourself, and they're like, wow, that dude is still cool. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's what I think.
Phil, again, we have the opportunity to speak to somebody with such a, well, let's just say, a unique perspective on life, a unique history on life. What don't our viewers know? What didn't I ask that you feel that you really like to convey for our audience?
My sister and I do a conversations every Thursday on IG Live. If anybody watches IG Live, I said this the other day, and I'll say it here. I suffer from performance anxiety. Phil Morris does. I do. I haven't always, but I do now, because my intention is so complete. My immersion and my connectivity to what I want to do is so complete. It's so valuable to me that I get a little anxious the night before I go on set. I want people to know this because we talk in these terms that seem as though we're masters of our universe, and very few of us are, and I am not. I am flawed like everyone. And I want people to know that I go through what I go through. And this is one of the things that I go through. And I'm not mad at it. It's my gas. It's what shows me I care. It's what shows me that I'm still involved and I still want to be connected to my industry and my art. I don't necessarily like the anxiety I go through, but I'm not mad at it either, because it does make me feel as though I'm alive on this planet. And I'm pushing. I'm still pushing. I'm not ready to retire as a human. And I want people to know that we all struggle with certain things, and we all have things that we have to get over. I'm not here speaking as though I don't have anything to work on. I have a lot to work on. So I think that's what I want people to understand, is that I'm a work in progress, you're a work in progress, and we're just sharing our truths. So
yeah, I could listen to you forever. I teased you just now about being like a preacher or something, but I mean you just have this engaging way of, oh, let me hear more.
Thank you so much.
I mean that. I really mean that, and I want to thank you again for coming back and are willing to come back again.
Absolutely, and I have to say thank you to Trevor Sharp.
Yes.
Trevor BB, Trevor Sharp, who connected us, and she was so diligent in, have you connected with Silke? Have you connected with her? I was like, I'm in Atlanta, I'm in Arkansas. I'll do it as soon as I get back. And I'm so happy that she did connect us, because this has been really wonderful both times.
Thank you. Treva is, of course, a regular on the show. I love her to death, and I want to thank her as well too. And I'm going to ask you what I asked you last time, because that was so funny. I don't want to lose it. Will you please give me one Jackie Chiles line?
I wish I had my glasses on. Oh, Silke, you are one fine-looking, sexy lady. You're smart, you're vivacious, you're ebullient. Oh, you're delicious. I just love it. Please, anytime you want Jackie on, or Phil, that other guy, he'll be at your beck and call. All right now.
When I said that you were my favorite recurring character, I meant that. I really do. I don't say things I don't mean. Sometimes, maybe I'm a little bit over enthusiastic, but nonetheless true. So again, thank you so much, Phil. Is there anything that you want to say before we end here, or anything for our viewers to watch? Like, you have anything coming up you'd like to?
Well, I do have an audiobook on the life of Chuck Berry that's coming out very, very soon. I know Chuck Berry, the godfather of rock and roll. And I do Doom Patrol on HBO Max. I just want people to check that out. And the Bosch Legacy show on Amazon Freevee. So I'm there. That's a stupid plug for me. But really, I just want to save everything for our next interview.
Yeah. That's funny. Hold up. No. Phil, you are just so wonderful to talk to. And I look forward to our next conversation on Second Act TV.
Thank you, Silke. Enjoy.
If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right here. Just click on through to YouTube, and when you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too, and we'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.